Will the faculty marshal please return the ceremonial mace to the stand? Please be seated. Good afternoon, or good morning, I'm sorry. I'm Charles Flederman, Associate Dean for Academic Affairs of the School of Engineering, and it's my pleasure to welcome you to the UNM School of Engineering Fall 2016 Convocation. We're here to celebrate, and I do mean celebrate, the accomplishments of today's graduates and give them a good send-off to their future endeavors. Let's begin by introducing the faculty marshal for today's ceremony. At each of our convocations, we honor a retired faculty member by asking him or her to carry the School of Engineering ceremonial mace while leading the faculty procession. We're pleased to have Professor Arup Maji from the Department of Civil Engineering as our marshal today. Professor Maji retired from UNM last summer after 28 years of service at UNM. He has received awards for excellence of his teaching and is also a fellow of the American Society of Civil Engineers. In addition to his faculty duties, he served as chair of the Department of Civil Engineering and as interim dean of the School of Engineering. Arup, thank you for your years of service to UNM and our students, and thank you for being our faculty marshal today. I would also like to thank Ms. Linda Boogie from the Nanoscience and Microsystems Engineering Program for being our banner carrier this morning. It is now my pleasure to introduce to you the Dean of the School of Engineering, Dr. Joseph Checki.
Please let me add my words of welcome to those of Dean Flutterman. It's great to see so many faculty, staff, family, and friends here to celebrate with the graduates on this happy occasion. So let's start out by showing our engineering and computer science graduates how proud we are for them reaching this significant milestone in their lives. Yes. Each of you has taken a different path on your individual educational journey to arrive here today. But all of you have completed one of the most demanding courses of study in the entire university. And each one of you is prepared to go forward as an engineer or computer scientist, to go on to positions in industry, the labs, or to continue your education. I'm curious, how many of you thought your course of study was easy? How many of you thought it was hard? How many of you thought it was just right? How many of you actually went to class? Well, the reason I'm asking is that no matter how you found your educational experience in the School of Engineering, the world that awaits you is going to be far more challenging and complex. For those of you heading to your jobs, your employers are not going to give you lectures and then test you on the material later. Instead, they'll give you real-life problems to solve, because that's what engineers and computer scientists do. The same is true if you're going off to graduate school. It will be about problem solving. Some of those problems will have multiple solutions. An important part of your work will be to exercise your insight and judgment to choose the right one. Some of those problems will have no solutions, and you will need to learn how to reframe the question. In other words, you will frequently find yourself in uncharted territory. It's inevitable that everything you try is not going to succeed, so don't expect it to. But unlike school, in life you won't be measured by how many things you get right, but by the impact of the things that you do get right. And if you're going to be at your creative best, you will need to stretch intellectually. Not everything you try will work. Sometimes you will fail. But what's important is how you deal with failure. Though it's difficult for most of us, you must look failure straight in the eye and learn all that you can from it. Failing on occasion does not mean you're a failure. There's a Japanese proverb that captures the point nicely. Fall down 7 times and stand up 8. No matter what you go on to do, if you're going to succeed, then you have to take some risks. If you never fail, you're staying too far inside your comfort zone. Be bold, think out of the box. Take advantage of all you know from your classes, your experience, and life itself, and be as imaginative as possible in combining all of it. Try unconventional things, even though you're not assured they will work out. When you do take risks and succeed, you will experience a sense of accomplishment like no others. It's something that few professions can offer. Lobo engineers and computer scientists, the School of Engineering and I wish you all the best, and please remember us as you go forward. And go Lobos. We're very pleased that the School of Engineering is a vital and engaged part of the broader University of New Mexico community. While we take pride in the job we do educating our students for technical careers, we could not do it without the rest of the university. With that in mind, it's my pleasure to welcome senior University of leaders who have joined with us today. I would like to introduce Lieutenant General Bradley C. Hosmer, member of UNM's Board of Regents and chair of the Regents Academic and Student Affairs and Research Committee. Regent Hosmer, would you stand, please? We also have with us Dr. Chowki Abdallah, UNM Provost and Executive Vice President for Academic Affairs, Professor of Electrical and Computer Engineering, and my boss, so let's hear it. And finally, Dr. Greg Heilman, Associate Provost for Curriculum and Professor of Electrical and Computer Engineering. Regent Hosmer, Provost Abdallah, and Provost Heilman, thank you for all that you do for our students, and particularly for being here today to celebrate with us. It is now my honor to introduce our keynote speaker, Doug Campbell. Doug is an engineer by training, but he considers himself an entrepreneur first. He's the president and CEO of two companies, Solid Power Incorporated and Rocor LLC, both based in Colorado. He said that the technical background he received at UNM's Department of Civil Engineering, where he earned both a bachelor's and master's degree, has been invaluable in his career, but his personality pushed him more towards the business world. Both companies have grown rapidly since 2011 founding, with the former having been named the fastest growing privately held company in the Boulder Valley. Doug's particular entrepreneurial passion is on market opportunities with highly disruptive potential, and both of his businesses clearly reflects this. Doug is an Albuquerque native who chose UNM because it was nearby, but he stayed around for graduate school because of the connections he made both in the School of Engineering and in the nearby technical community. A former New Mexico-based professional mountain biker, Doug still enjoys biking as well as skiing, camping, and traveling, and attending his children's soccer activities. You can read more about Doug in your Convocation program, including a number of his personal insights and future plans, and I very much recommend that reading to you. Ladies and gentlemen, please join me in welcoming our Fall 2016 School of Engineering keynote speaker, Doug Campbell.
Thank you, Dean, and thanks for giving me the opportunity to speak to you, tell you a little bit about my journey. When the dean's office reached out to me and asked if I could speak as part of the ceremony, I said, sure. What do you want to talk about? And their response was, I don't know, just put yourself in their shoes and think about what you'd want to hear when you graduated. And for me, this was roughly about 15 years ago. Beyond that, the only guidance I received yesterday was don't talk about death, don't talk about politics, and don't talk about religion. So I won't talk about any of those. So let me first start off by saying congratulations, and not the typical congratulations of completing one journey, moving on to another journey, but I'm going to be quite a bit more specific, and that is congratulations for your degree in engineering. And the reason why I say engineering, and I should have said this at the start, I'm a tech startup guy. So me being a tech startup guy, that's going to flavor everything that you'll hear this morning. So why congratulations on engineering? Not only am I a startup guy, I'm very black and white. So I look at engineering, and to me, engineering is the center of the universe. And I'm not being overly dramatic. So I view engineering, simple definition, reducing science to practice. I look at it from a societal standpoint, and I view engineering as the profession driving society forward. I think if you look at your examples simply today, you probably woke up this morning, quenched your thirst with a glass of water, and hopefully didn't get cholera from that water, and that's thanks to an engineer. You probably drove a vehicle to this event this morning, again, thanks to an engineer who designed and built that vehicle. Perhaps you checked your email this morning using either maybe an iPhone, Samsung Galaxy Note 7, well maybe not one of those. You look at this, and what did the engineers do? They designed the processors, they designed the battery, they designed the touch screen, the email server that processed your email, the internet, all designed by engineers. So, now with that being said, I certainly don't want to take away from other professions, but again, in my very black and white nature, I look at all professions as simply supporting engineering. So, for example, lawyers. What are they good for? Well, they make sure that we protect our business interests. Intellectual property, I'm a tech startup guy. That's at the center of our value proposition, and we need lawyers to help us write up those patents, write up those business agreements. So obviously, very, very important. Finance and accounting. We need money. For me, I have to make payroll. That's a big deal. I certainly, I want my finance and admin team to keep me out of jail. I don't want to get crosswise with the IRS because obviously it's tough to innovate from jail. I hear they severely limit your internet access. Medical field. Obviously, we can't innovate if we're dead. So we need the medical field to keep us engineers alive so we can continue to innovate. Very, very critical. Even entertainment, actors, musicians, sports figures. We can't innovate 24/7. Sometimes we need some downtime, otherwise we'll burn out. So, watching, cinematic classics like Gone with the Wind, Breaking Bad, that's very key for recharging our batteries, pun intended. And you'll understand that here momentarily. So that really is why I congratulate you. And I firmly believe this. I've been using a little bit of humor here, but in truth, in Doug Campbell's world, engineering is the center of the universe. A professor here who is no longer at UNM, but he was very influential to me early on in my academic career, put it, in my view, very, very succinctly. And this was Dr. Gerald May. Some of you may remember Gerald May. Not only was he a professor in civil engineering, but throughout his career, I believe he was chair, dean, and president of the university. I took I think it was a material mechanics course, and he started the lecture off by stating, engineers have saved more lives than all of the doctors combined throughout world history, simply by providing clean water. And I think you could expand that really to anything. So that is why, in Doug Campbell's very simplistic view of the world, engineering is the center of the universe. And that is why I congratulate you on getting the most valuable degree in the world. So, switching gears, a little bit about me. Thank you. A little bit about me. I am an Albuquerque native. I grew up here. This is my hometown. Got both my degrees from UNM. Perhaps even more local. I attended Monte Vista Elementary School, Jefferson Middle School, and Albuquerque High School. So I'm not only a product of Albuquerque, I'm a product of roughly a 2 or 3 mile radius centered around the University of New Mexico. So I don't know how you can get any more local than that. I did get my degrees in civil engineering, but I'm not a civil engineer. I can barely spell concrete. I went and I'd like to call out my advisor when I went through school, Dr. Arup Maji. He allowed me the opportunity to get off campus and go and do all of my research at the Air Force Research Lab Space Vehicles, and that was just an absolutely fantastic opportunity. And that's what really got me into the aerospace world. So if you had to hold my feet to the fire and say, Doug, technically what are you? I'm really an aerospace structures guy. Although I really only did that for a few years because I learned early on I was a close enough engineer, like, yeah, that's close enough, you guys will figure it out. What I really like doing is chasing opportunity. I'm an opportunist with a tech background, and that's what really gets me passionate. I left my last so-called real job in 2011 and decided to start up my own businesses. So I started up 2 businesses at the same time, not at all expecting both businesses to be successful. And so now I have a somewhat unruly existence trying to keep 2 rapidly growing businesses alive. My particular passion really is on looking at opportunities where there's a huge potential for disruption. And both my companies reflect that, and I'll use those as examples. Solid Power. This was a company I co-founded with 2 professors out of the University of Colorado Boulder. It's basically an advanced rechargeable battery technology. The main industry that we are targeting is automotive, so electric vehicles. I think as most of you know, EVs are picking up steam, shall we say. And therein lies where the huge opportunity is. Huge tectonic shift within the automotive industry when you go to electric vehicles. The beauty of electric vehicles is their incredible simplicity. That represents a tremendous business risk to the supply chain within the automotive world. And then, of course, at the center of that storm is a recognition that existing lithium-ion batteries are not good enough. So enter in entrepreneurs who say, hey, I've got a better solution. I've got a better technology. And that's exactly what we're doing. And we mentioned, or it was mentioned before, we were just named fastest growing privately held company in Boulder, and similarly, we are considered one of the world's leading companies developing what's referred to as solid-state rechargeable batteries, which essentially in the automotive industry, there's a recognition that more than likely that's a technology that will displace lithium-ion in a 10 to 15-year time frame. And so it's that sort of tectonic shift within a very steadfast industry is when I talk about trying to take that as an opportunity and be aggressive. Similarly, my aerospace company, Rocor, we specialize in low-cost deployable systems. Low cost historically hasn't been that big of a deal in aerospace. It is now. And the reason is because you're seeing non-traditional investment dollars coming into the space arena where they, in effect, want to take our communication away from, let's say, cell towers or fiber optic lines, put it in space. And the challenge there is you need satellite constellations that number hundreds, if not thousands. And you can't spend $500 million on your satellite like is what's done with GPS. So now you've got to have orders of magnitude reduction in the cost of your satellite. In effect, a revolutionary change in that aerospace industry. Again, enter left stage entrepreneurs such as myself and others saying we have a way to do that. And I'm very pleased to say that soon it will be public, but our company just signed the world's largest solar array procurement just in terms of unit numbers, and going from a 5-year-old company, that's almost unheard of. So the lesson there, obviously very, very, again, startup-centric, the lesson there being look at opportunity, not as a risk, not as a threat, look at changes, not as a risk, not as a threat, but as an opportunity. And to me, that's what defines really successful technologists. Finally, I will leave you guys with a little bit of advice, and I'm going to start with kind of an interesting interaction I had. I tend to receive, any group coming out of a university in the Front Range area tends to, at some point, show up at my doorstep asking about things like, hey, how do I deal with technology transfer office? How do I get seed stage funding to get this off the ground, so on and so forth. I received an interesting inquiry from a postdoc student at CU Boulder who sent me an email. And basically kind of poured her heart out in this email. But the gist of her email, I'll sort of summarize it for you, is how did you go from nobody to somebody, in basically 5 years? And first of all, I objected to the nobody. I think I was somebody 5 years ago. But anyway, just ask my wife. And furthermore, you're leading a battery company. You have absolutely no business leading a battery company. And she's right. My degrees are in civil engineering, not chemistry. I hate chemistry. But I don't need to know chemistry. I need to know the business side of things and have an appreciation for the technology. And so she asked me, she surmised that I was her same age. She didn't realize I'm actually a little bit older than her. I don't think she knew that I was on the 8-year bachelor plan. But again, I had an excuse. I had a professional mountain bike career at the same time, so I wasn't just playing video games and stuff like that. But be that as it may, she said, how the heck, did you get to where you are? You don't have degrees from a quote-unquote, blue chip school. Your last name's Campbell. I assume you have no connection to the Campbell soup family, which is correct. I do not. And nor do I have any family wealth. So how did you do it? And I said, it's quite simple. It's not rocket science. Unless, of course, you're doing launch vehicles, and then it is rocket science. But we're not. You really just it takes determination. It takes, this concept of grit. Not only in the business world, but even in the technology world. It's not easy. Nothing's easy. You're going to have the highs, you're going to have the lows, and the beauty is sticking with it. One of my co-founders has a PhD from Caltech. Absolutely brilliant, genius. We had to get rid of him because he couldn't stick with it. He would get too excited and get too bummed out. And eventually he flamed out. And there's little old Doug Campbell with his Master of Science from Civil Engineering from the University of New Mexico driving this company forward. And again, I'm not a genius. I'd like to think I have above average intelligence. And it takes that. But it also just simply takes perseverance. And so I would say those are the lessons I would encourage you to kind of take away from my somewhat rambling talk this morning, which is persevere. Don't get too excited when things go well, and don't get too bummed out when things go bad, because they will. Choose your end goal and stick with it. And again, change is good. Embrace change. look at it as an opportunity, not as a risk or a threat. I've seen that throughout my career so much. So, with that, again, congratulations, most important degrees in the world. Appreciate it.